there is someone in this group that's going through it, will go through it, or has gone through it that can give you some real actionable feedback. And this information is so fucking valuable and so important because our children are so valuable and so important. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to day 23 of the free 30-day challenge inside of the Uncaged free group. And we're going to get into it. We're just going to kind of follow in line. We're talking about like relationships and stuff like that. And, you know, there's one that's just so important as a human being, but much less as a motherfucking father, that we've had some very serious conversations about this on roundtable calls in the last few weeks. It's wild to me, and a world that we live in, with such a disassociation between parents and their children, much less fucking fathers. And so I wanted to come put some of this to bed and like really cement some of these fundamentals that need to be inside of your household and the importance of them. Because when it comes to children, there's no greater responsibility. I'm a huge believer and proponent that your wife has to come above your children. And there's a few different reasons for that. One of which, again, like I talked about earlier, is it shows your children like what a strong, healthy relationship should look like. And God bless, I would never want my daughter to experience, well, first of all, if my daughter went through what I experienced, okay, I wouldn't want my daughter to go through what Heather went through in her first marriage. And again, I've been married before too, so there's, we're not throwing stones there, but I would hate to see another man treat Lottie the way Heather has been treated in the past in her previous marriage. And through that, it's my responsibility as a father to show her what a real man looks like. And so that is the mission that I'm on. But not only that, I'm on the mission of providing a life, a future for my daughter. And part of that comes down to spending time with them. So when I start talking through some of these numbers and I mention time, I mean quality time. I don't mean just time around them. I mean time with them. No phones, no distractions, dedicated time with undivided attention to them specifically. And part of the reason behind that is some of the statistics that back this up is that there's a 67% increase in emotional behavior out of these children that receive quality time from their parents. This obviously goes to you having to lead the household as the man of the house and leading by example, if this is something that maybe your wife struggles with. Now, with that said, let me just preface this. If you have not experienced the slightest of what it's like to be a stay-at-home mother, right, which is obviously using your brain, because a majority of us are not stay-at-home dads, and the time that it takes to truly take care of these children the way that they deserve to be taken care of, and for that to be a 24/7 job, for lack of better terms, that you never get to clock out of, you never get rewarded for as far as like a direct compensation for time invested in a dollar amount. There's no, it's funny, actually, today, ironically enough, I got tagged in a group, a page or a post that I made that a page picked up that's now gotten like literally hundreds of millions of views. It's gotten shared millions and millions of times. I mean, some of the biggest report networks have actually picked it up and spread it, and it was from 4.5 years ago. And it's still being circulated, but it was because of the polarity of the importance of like what some of these stay-at-home moms go through. And I want you to really understand, I didn't mean to kind of go off on this tangent on this video, but I want you to understand that your role to be able to support that woman that is a stay-at-home mom in the realest way, because they are helping mold your human being, your little boy, your little girl, and that is such a strong role and comes with so much weight on its shoulders because of some of the statistics that I talk about. Whereas quality time, like I was saying, it actually improves their emotional response and their emotional intelligence and their emotional age by 67%. Like, this is huge when it comes to your children being able to learn how to control your emotions. If you're on Uncaged, you may have seen one of the trips Heather was on. Lottie came in and sat in the studio, and she was like talking on the mic, and so like she was pretending. I was like, you know what, fuck it, let's run it. So I hit record, and I walked out and went back to doing some chores around the house and let her just jam. And I came back afterwards, like, oh, she was asleep, and watched the video, and it's my daughter talking about the importance of controlling your emotions. And as a 5-year-old, at the time that she recorded that was a huge testament to me in the way that we are leading our household, her mother and I, in what the importance is of being able to understand that. So like this statistic is like coming true before my very eyes. And like, I feel like I'm a part of this, like this study, because I see this. It's not like these are just some numbers that are made up and pulled out of someone's ass. It's like, take this and like, man, like if you can't comprehend the importance of some of this stuff, is test it. Like what would you lose? What detriment would you go through by experiencing a little bit of quality time with your children, right? Not only that, like when it comes to behavioral well-being, 40% less impact on kids as far as their well-being goes when they are not surrounded by this quality time. Part of the learning situations that we've gone through with Lottie, with her being in kindergarten now, is some of these kids don't have access to the households that she does. And this goes into like some of the training or education that we've gone through with her on like why we're nice to people. But it breaks my heart to think about the kids that are in her school having a 40% less behavioral intelligence because of their fucking parents. Like these are kids that, at this age, they're so innocent and they don't know any better. And so it's our responsibility to be that shining example for them and to pour into them and give them that quality time so that they get the better opportunity to have some of this behavioral improvements. Like that's us that's robbing them from that. And then not only that, we're talking about robbing them. What about like just pouring toxicity into their lives? To be a little bit polarizing about it is there is kids that get quality time and attention from their parents. They have reported a 36% less response to depression. Like how incredible is that? It's, more than a third. And I mean, man, it breaks my heart to ever even consider my daughter experiencing depression at fucking 5. This world isn't meant for these creatures, these beautiful creatures. But whereas as a protector, as a provider, as a fucking man, as a fucking father, it is literally my responsibility to protect her from that. And quality of time, that's it. My time as daddy to spend with them, to give them a 36 better fighting chance against fucking depression. Like, who am I to dam up that flow of just care and knowledge and impact, truly impact. Not only that, you take it, a step further when it starts coming down to like academically. Kids actually report 52% higher numbers academically when they have quality time with their parents. I believe that it's that they're getting to experience like real life scenarios and real life conversations. Like from day one, we've never once baby talked Lottie. I believe that like goes a lot into the way she talks and the way she interacts with adults specifically now. There's a lot that goes into it that I'm not here to talk about or get into really, but I'd be more than happy to have, sidebar conversations. But like, it's stuff like that like academically, like we are molding these children into the best versions of themselves. And it's all by just pouring quality time into them. Not only that, like to think about cognitively, about the way their beautiful brains operate and how they're impressionable that they are. That kids that have quality time with their parents actually show a 25% increase in cognitive function. Literally, your child's brain is forming or not forming right in front of your eyes. And we've done a lot of talk over the last few days, so I'm not going to beat a dead horse about, like, when you go and look at, like, who this model version of yourself that is in the future, and you look back at some of the things that you're doing, what would you, like, how would you pour wisdom into yourself now if you could? And not only that, but, like, that future version of your child, when you think about the now, which is what we control. Now, what we control in the present does have impact on the future, and we can't change anything about the past. But if we were to think about that, the investment that you're making into your children as just a humanal piece of life, it impacts that future version of your child. So, like, at what level are they going to operate at and be, and what kind of person are they going to be when they're 5, when they're 10, when they're 15, when they're 20, 25, 30, all the way up to being full-blown adult children? What does that look like? Not only that, like, even on standardized testings, or maybe not even standardized testings, but, like, kids came back with a 10-point higher across the board IQ just because they spent quality time with their parents. Like, what does that look like for your child? How are you giving that child that 1%? Right? You're giving them that 1% swing. What does that look like to your child? Now, obviously, it goes in, and it's honestly kind of irrelevant to talk about this because it's such a no-brainer, but, like, I really wanted to drive it home. When it comes to, like, the bond with your children, like, that is a direct reflection of the investment that you pour into it. Like, you will see what you reap what you sow. You will reap what you sow when it comes to this. And to, like, just really, like, put a bow on that is kids reported a 70% higher bond with their parents when they received true quality time. Why would you not want to take a chance on that relationship with your children? 70%. Now, listen, I know, like, I am kind of preaching to the choir here, because if you're the type of man that raised your hand and said you wanted to go down the path of a 30-day challenge with other fucking like-minded men for personal and professional development, you're the kind of guy that's going to go out here and do this. You're the kind of guy that's going to go out and you're going to put legs under this, and you are going to make a difference in your child's life. But, like, that is a number that I really wanted to push into this, is, like, it's 70% higher bond. I have a great bond with Lottie. What does 70% better look like? How can I get it? How can I squeeze 1% better bond with that beautiful little angel? Not only that, their social interaction increases by 33%. Like, they are learning how to interact with other human beings based off the way that they interact with you. You start to see some of these kids that are a little bit more shy, a little bit more recluse, a little bit more secluded. We talked about it earlier this week. I believe it was yesterday. It might have been 2 days ago, right? We're like, no shit. Like, of course you want to go hide from the world. I believe it was a 25%. It was 2 days ago, because it was a 25% increase decrease in your depression state when you're actually going out there and doing things that you enjoy doing, right? Pouring back into yourself. Well, here's a chance for you to pour into your children. But going back to what I was talking about earlier, like in the week, you yourself, by pouring into you, receive a 25% decrease in depression rates statistically, based on the surveys. Whereas you pouring in, so there you were pouring into yourself, here you're pouring into your children. And now your children receive a 36% less rate of depression. Like, why would you not do that? But not only does it reduce the depression inside your child specifically, but then you think of about a 33% increase in their social intelligence, like the way they interact with other human beings. Like, guys, a core fucking memory of mine is being in Belize with Lottie and just experiencing the fact that, you know, this one moment that I am literally seeing right now, she's on a car that is pink and it's got like white accessories on it. It's got a white handle, and this other girl that was probably, at the time she was probably 4. This girl was probably like 7 or 8, so about twice her age. And there was another group of probably about 5 or 6 little girls all around them, and they're like running through this courtyard that's nothing but dirt. Dirt's kicking up. I mean, everyone's laughing. Everyone's dirty. Everyone's having a good time. And, like, it's moments like that like, I know we're headed down the right path, where my daughter treats everyone the same, no matter what they have, no matter what they look like, no matter how they talk. She's there to be. And so this, again, these statistics, like, I see this in my own life. And for me, the type of person I am, like, I can't scream this from the rooftops loud enough on, like, the importance of this kind of stuff, because, like, I want other people to experience the happiness that I have in my family. I'm not perfect, and we are not perfect. We've been going through some very trying times with my daughter ourselves that are learning opportunities for her to grow from. And with us being first-time parents, like, it's uncharted waters. And honestly, there's not a whole lot of really useful information that I've seen that teaches us how to navigate some of these waters. But for me, it's like stuff like this that does click with me, that says, like, dude, a 33% increase in, like, her social awareness and her social behavior. Why would you not want to provide that with your child? And then lastly, like, as it comes to this kind of information, is when you look at delinquency in kids and delinquent behaviors, because you pour into them, and I honestly think this number could probably be higher. But again, this is what the studies are showing. And now, mind you, this is what's reported. It was 50%. Kids that receive quality time from their parents experience 50% less delinquent behavior. Like, how wild is that? How incredible of an opportunity do you get to provide for your child, again, just by pouring dedicated time into them? And then the last thing I want to talk about is, like, kind of like more of a physical, it's, like diet and nutrition, or diet and obesity, as well as, like, physical health and stuff like that. But when it comes to the dieting and the obesity and stuff like that, a lot of that is because there is a lack of attention. And we see this in adults, where eating disorders and stuff like that come from, depression and anxiety. And it's, basically like it's a response to something that's happening, and they don't really understand it. And as their caregivers, it's our responsibility to put a focus on that. But we actually see that there's a 35% increase in improper diet habits and obesity in kids that just aren't getting the time and attention that they want. And it breaks my heart, because, like, all they want is love and attention. They are trying to learn from you, and they're not receiving it, and their body pushes them into a response that's not good for them. Not only that, it's 20% in, like, a physical health. So, like, a lot of this comes from, like, just the feel-good serotonin, dopamine, and cortisol levels that come from children that get to experience this quality time with their parents. They actually have those feel-good chemicals that gets them excited about going out and playing outside and doing fun stuff in the daylight and getting fresh air and running around and getting dirty and just being fucking kids. 20%. And so, for me, it's such a tough spot to be in. I fucking broke down and cried on the roundtable call that we had yesterday with the VIP guys, talking about Lottie and just some of the shit that, like, has happened inside the group and some tragedies that some of the guys have experienced, and opportunities for us to take that for those of us who think this way and apply it to our life currently with the children that we have. And what it just enforces what the responsibility is for us as fucking men, as fucking dads. And for those girl dads out there, for fucking daddy, man. So I can't reinforce this enough. I hope this didn't bore you if you were a single guy or you don't have kids yet or you can't have kids or whatever the case. I really, truly hope that this did not lose you on this 30-day challenge. We're on day 23, which special number in my life, but also it's just a special topic for me, coming from someone that was told I was never going to be able to have kids, with a wife who was told that she was never going to be able to have kids. Granted, they didn't say never. They said that statistically, or they said that they could not verify this, but it would be extremely, extremely hard for us, and we both got told that. So we both knew that we had an uphill battle, and we had our miracle baby. So like everything I'm doing on this 30-day challenge, and I'm looking at what we're going over, and I'm looking at, having solid relationships again with ourselves and with our spouses and with our children. And I look at the magnitude of the importance of this, that I hope I did not lose you on this. And for those of you who this connected with, like, this is where I want the homework to come from. Again, get in there and let's start brainstorming things that, you're dealing with, that you're seeing. How are you seeing some of these statistics coming true inside of your child's lives? What are things that you need some help with? There's a lot of guys in Uncaged, both in the free group and the VIP group, that are incredible fucking fathers that have tons of fucking experience. And I'm telling you, like, inside the free group, like, there's so many topics that get covered, and children, like kids, there is someone in this group that's going through it, will go through it, or has gone through it, that can give you some real actionable feedback. And this information is so fucking valuable and so important because our children are so valuable and so important. So get in the group chat. I want to hear what your plans are about how you're going to start spending time with your children on a very fucking regular basis. And remember, it's not just time, it's quality time. Undivided, you and your children, because this is what's going to impact your children. So get in the comments on that homework thread. Tell me exactly what you're going to be doing with your children and how it's going to impact them. We'll see you tomorrow.